ever felt frustrated and helpless after listening and doing everything your vet told you to do, but it only made your sick pet worse and not get any better? That's me in 2008 with my first adopted cat, Meow. I did everything the vet told me to do, and I realized she wasn't getting any better and only worse. So I decided to look into alternative health options and was drawn to the stories of holistic pet service entrepreneurs and their transformative journey, overcoming obstacles, chasing their passion, and creating a movement that has caused a ripple effect of positive change in the lives of their clients and pets around the world. Join me as I share the raw, inspiring journeys of these amazing entrepreneurs, their successes and failures. My name is Amrys Wang, and this is The Raw Entrepreneur.
Who is Julie-Anne Thorne, please?
Wow, so cat mum first. Definitely a cat mum. I'm not someone who is here to have human babies. My mission, one of my purposes is to look after cats and to help, raise awareness of them. So we've always had them in our family. We've never, not that I have nothing against dogs, but we've never really had dogs. I've never kind of come into contact with dogs either, not even extended family or friends have them. So we've always had cats, and it's just, that's such a lovely safe space for me. I'm an introvert, so I struggle being in groups of people, and that's not usually socially the norm. You're meant to go in and socialize with everyone, and being with more than probably two people is a stretch for me. Obviously, I can manage it, but cats were always calm, and even the crazy ones were fun to be with. And despite the fact that I've not always known about behavior, I had my behavior qualifications, I don't know, 10-15 years ago now. So even though cats could be unpredictable, I still found that easier to deal with than humans, and with cats, they're so clear that it's either a yes please or a no thank you. Yes, I'll have cuddles, or no thank you very much. With humans, there's these filters and these masks and stuff, which we all do to protect ourselves and what have you. But with cats, it was just simple. And I think that's why I've always gravitated to them. So when I'm in a party, I'm one of those people that when there's a party, I'm in the kitchen, or, I pop to the toilet and I find the cat somehow, or the cat finds me, and we'll be on the landing for, 45 minutes, just sat next to each other. So when I was younger, I was very overwhelmed by people, by school. And, it was a relief when I found my connection with cats, because it meant that I could be myself, and there were no issues with having to be a certain way. Excuse me. It was comfortable, and it was just a lovely place to be. So cat mum and a wife, there is the human connection there, but I've definitely always been drawn to cats. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about speaking up for them, is because I was misunderstood when I was younger. I was told that I was a grumpy teenager, and now when I look back, I realize it's because I was overwhelmed, in an overwhelmed state. My physical body, my nervous system, I was in a heightened state of anxiety, and I didn't know about that then. I couldn't articulate that then. So when I would be in overwhelm, I'd be short-tempered, or I would be quiet and reflective, and that got misconstrued as being grumpy. And that's not the case. Whereas now as an adult, I can say, I'd love to come and spend time with you for 2 to 3 hours, but that's my limit. And after that, I need some quiet time. I need to go within, I need to recharge, I need to meditate, or whatever my coping mechanism may be. So I think that big label of grumpy and being misunderstood, again, is a real driver for me to speak up for cats, because people say they're they're annoying, they're wrong, they're doing this just to spite me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's just so not the case. You know, they're just trying to share, trying to communicate something. We've just got to figure out what that is.
So, how so how long have you done naturally cats?
Probably about 15 years. It started
Wow.
off as a hobby, and it started off because I couldn't find someone that did what I do now, which is the complete holistic approach, you know, energy, emotions, physical, mental, spiritual. So Pickle led me to try to find answers, which I'm sure a lot of people have had those animals, that cat, horse, dog, guinea pig, that led you to learn to learn about yourself, to find out about other things, to broaden your horizons, so to speak. So she was chronically poorly. We weren't getting answers from the vets, as you wouldn't, because they were treating one thing at a time and we needed to look at the whole picture. So she inspired me to, you know, train in Reiki and healing and animal communication and zoo pharmacognosy, so that I could try different ways to help. And then through obviously the training, you've got to do case studies, you've got to work with, you know, other animals. I remember doing some healing on some chickens before as one of my case studies. I also did it on a giant tortoise. It was massive. The energy was so dense.
Wow.
It was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And then I did it on a hamster, and it was like little tiny bubbles, you know, in my hand. So I started to have kind of clients, although I didn't really charge them at the time, you know, from having case studies to then just helping people because I just want to help. That's like a stick of rock. If you cut me, that's what it says at my core. I'm here to help, you know, I'm here to be of service to others. So it started years ago, and it's really been I'd say the last 4 years that I've really committed to it, to say to people, you know, I'm here, how can I help?
Wow. 15 years of studying, learning, just to help your first hard cat, Pickle.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you
Yeah.
share a bit more about Pickle? What was Pickle like?
Yeah, she was grumpy. Which is, when you think about the kind of similarities there, it's just it's phenomenal when I look back now. I wanted a cat after I finished university, and every rescue centre we went to didn't have one. I'm like, how can rescue centres not have cats for rehoming? Surely there's like an epidemic of cats that need rehoming. And we waited 3.5 months, and we finally had the call from Cheltenham Animal Rescue Centre. They had a cat. She wasn't in a good way, but would we want to see her? And something in my heart knew it was her. Regardless, we were taking her home. And it wasn't because I was desperate for a cat. I just knew that she was there. She was the one. We were ready. It was time. Like my soul was just complete, and I didn't even have her. It's the only way I can explain it. So we went to go and view her, in theory, just with a view to kind of seeing if she was right for us. But like I said, on a deeper level, I knew she had cuts all over her ears. She was in a really bad way. She'd been stray for about 4 months, they estimated. And she was terrified. You know, she was absolutely petrified. And I said, yeah, we'll have her. And it didn't help that the guy that was trying to help get her into a carrier was usually from the dog side. He said to me, you know, I normally work with the dogs. I don't know what I'm doing with cats. And she's hissing and growling, and, you know, her eyes are massive, her ears are flat. And I just said to him, move out the way, I'll do it. And I just went in, grabbed her, scooped her up, put her in the box, you know, not in like in a bad way, but just literally was like, come on, let's get her home. I need to be with her. And the whole journey home, she was yowling, she was howling, she was telling us, you know, either I'm glad to be with you or I'm not very happy. I think it was the second one. So we got her home and we left her. You know, we shut her in a room with all the resources that you should, and we just let her settle. And then about 2.5, 3 hours later, I went in very quietly and she gave me a little rub across my face, and then she bit my nose, and that was it. We were best friends ever since then. So she was very poorly, unfortunately, but again, I believe everything happens for a reason. So she was poorly because it led me to then train in those different modalities. She had, first and foremost, diabetes, which was the steepest learning curve I've ever endured, regardless of all the studying, you know, my degree and everything. That was the steepest learning curve. We couldn't get her diabetes regulated. We couldn't get her settled. I couldn't figure it out. And now I look back again with hindsight, it's because we had her on dry food at the time, and, you know, dry food's not good for cats. So once we got her off that, we were able to get her a bit more stable, but she never went into remission. She never was really fully stable with it, but we did the best that we could. But in amongst diabetes, we had pancreatitis, we had gingivitis, she had arthritis, she had all her teeth out. So she went to go in for a dental because she had problems. She had gingivitis with her gums. The vet said to me, he phoned me and said, I've just gone to take the 2 teeth out and 4 others have fallen out. I'm like, okay. So I said, you know, clean it up, do what you need to do. She came home. She must have had maybe 3 or 4 teeth left. So she would dribble when she ate. She would make loud noises when she snored, which just made me love her even more. And the pancreatitis was, you know, now and again. The arthritis, sadly, was the thing that took over her physical body. And again, now there are things, when I look back, I wish I tried laser therapy, you know, light therapy. We did try acupuncture. She wasn't particularly receptive, unfortunately. I think it's a great modality, and I've had it myself many, many times. But she didn't like other people. She was a very hesitant cat because she didn't trust very easily. So people coming into the home, she didn't react very well. And you've got to find that balance, haven't you, between the stress of the actual situation versus the healing of the modality. And I always think that you really need to weigh up which is more important, because overall you want to help. So it's not a question of just administer the treatment because it'll make her better, because if the body's under stress, it's not conducive to working for them. So yeah, so she lived to 17, and we had a very codependent relationship. She was my heart, and when she was put to sleep, I've never been the same since. I'll be honest. I struggled with my grief phenomenally. I ended up taking some time away. Oh, sorry. Because, you know, it broke my heart. But she's in a physical body, you know, and they don't last forever. God damn it. I had 13 amazing years with her, and, you know, she was my heart. She is my heart. She was my inspiration. And I've never met a cat like her, which I know I've spoken to other people, and they've had similar experiences with cats that have touched their heart and changed their life, because that's essentially what she did for me. You know, a 4-legged, furry, overweight, grumpy cat changed my life. And I'll always be, you know, have her with me. I've got photos obviously around the house. I've got tattoos of her paw prints. You know, people need to do what they need to do to feel connected, or to in remembrance. That's what worked for me. And yeah, I wouldn't be helping the cats I am today if it wasn't for her. So as much as in those moments where I would break down because we couldn't get a diabetes stable, or she was having a bout of pancreatitis, or she came home with like hardly any teeth, or I'd see her struggle to poop, which again was another issue. I look back now and think, you know, I'm so thankful and so grateful that she chose me for us to be together, for her to go through all of that to help me. And I'm just so grateful that I've got the opportunity now to share my knowledge and try to help other people and to try to help other cats, really.
She was your spirit guide, you know, your angel.
Oh,
She
yes.
led you to this path to get you to learn to help other cats.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it's very beautiful, you know.
Sure.
And yeah, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. When did she pass away?
October 2018. Yeah, 11th of October, 7:13 p.m. Not that it's ingrained in my memory. And you know what? That was the most beautiful situation. You know, we had the vets come to the house, and you know, she was in my arms. I just, you know, I wish she didn't have to go, but of course she has to go, because even in her passing, there are lessons for me. There is teachings for me. You know, the grief, the sadness, the hurt, the anger, the pain, all of that I went through. When I'm supporting people and helping guardians now, you know, I can empathize with them. So it's, again, it's another, people may not understand it, but it's something else I'm grateful to her for, because it meant that through feeling all of that, I can even help more people.
I understand. I understand. When an animal touches you in a very special way, when they when they create so many different situations for you to solve, problems to solve, and to try and figure out what's going on, they actually make us a better person. You know, I've always felt, because I do rescue work as well, it's the tough cases that you learn and grow the most.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, in their passing, I always felt that I always learn something when they pass, because it's obviously not everyone enjoys going through it, you know, but it is a cycle of life and death, you know. And each time I encounter death, and I stand vigil, or you know, assist an animal crossing over, it's never easy. It's never easy. You actually, for me, it shines a light, you know, on my own rawness and vulnerability as well. Because there's a lot of emotions, because you get very angry, very frustrated, a lot of guilt.
Oh, yes.
A lot of guilt. What if, why didn't I think of this? Why didn't I do that? If only I had known. Right. um Gosh, I completely understand that, because I have gutted myself so many times in my head, you know, like, God, oh, you stupid, stupid, stupid person, you know. But it's thanks to them that you know, we all become better caregivers, because
Absolutely.
we learn so much more, and that's when we can actually help other animals in need. And that's when, you know, a light bulb moment. Did you, you know, when was there a moment in time when you sort of knew that this is the path that you were going to take?
I'm so distracted by your cat show,
Ah,
like
yes.
on camera. I have to say, I am
I
loving the
know.
cat love right now.
Ducky, she's a Zoom whore.
I love it. I
she
really, really love it.
she loves every time I go on Zoom. She has to come, and then I have to kiss her. She has to smell my mouth. I have to open it up for her. I have to let her inhale. I don't know why, even though I was like, did I brush my teeth or no? You know, and I get a bit embarrassed the first few times, because she sticks her butt to the camera.
I saw that too.
And that's what, and people can't see my face because all they see is this ass.
I have to say, this has been one of the best Zoom calls I've had in a very long time.
So yeah, so my little ducky, oh man, she is a survivor. She came to me. My girlfriend rescued her, or from my girlfriend was a second-degree rescuer for her. So apparently, she was from a litter of a very sickly mama and very sickly kittens. And unfortunately, when they were rescued, they were in a very poor condition environment, and who the person who was holding onto them initially wasn't doing a very good job. So it was like a extraction kind of thing at the same time.
Okay.
And she and her brother was under the care of my friends. The brother was doing okay, but she was tiny, and they couldn't figure out. They didn't realize at first that they were the same litter because she was half the size of the brother and or the other siblings. She was like literally the size of my palm, and I have a tiny hand, and the brother was like boom, like my head, like chunky, right? And then she was like this really scrawny thing, and my girlfriend's one night she WhatsApped me and she was sending me videos and photos and said something's not right. I think this kitten's dying, and stroking out. And I looked and said, yeah, your kitten's having seizures, and multiple seizures actually, because my friend didn't even see it, because she didn't realize what it was at first. And my girlfriend was crying, and she knows that I do raw food, and I do a more holistic approach with supplements and stuff. And I said, well, she's been to the hospital. She went to the vet. She's seen multiple doctors, and they've given her lots of medication and the magic formula called prescription diet and stuff. But she wasn't responding well. And I told my girlfriend, I said, well, you can try and change her diet, but I can't promise anything because from the video, she really looked like she was going to pass on at any moment. She was struggling with her breathing as well. So my girlfriend was like, you have to promise me that you're going to save her. I said, I can't promise you. No, you have to promise me. I can't promise you. You have to promise. I can't promise you. So we're going on this way. Next thing she said, like, okay, I'm going to drop her off. I'm going to drop her off tomorrow morning before I go to work. It wasn't even a request. It was a statement. You have to save her. Yes, you have to save her. And I don't care. I'm like, do whatever you have to do. And I said, I can't promise that I can save her, but I'll do my best. No, you have to promise. So it went on even like hanging up. It was like, I have to promise. No, I can't promise. So she came to my home, and I used Animal Safe Animalio, Dr. Melissa Shelton's essential oils on her, and then I gave her a thorough bath, because every time they told me that that they're clean, when they come to me, they're never clean. There's always fleas or something, and sure enough, amazingly, she had fleas on her, even though she had like a medicated bath and everything. And the vets checked, and 2 rescuers checked and said she's clean. So my
Buggers,
experience,
aren't they?
yeah, I mean, like, they literally hide in the anus, any orifice, even in the eyes, the tear ducts or something under the eyelids, they will hide. So I've learned, never trust a rescue. Every rescue, there has to be something, okay? So I go through a protocol of, well, I'll put some oils for and see, but sure enough, things started to try and jump ship, and then I gave her a good bath, Animal Safe products, and kept her warm. I held her in my heart, and then I gave her some raw food, and she whacked it up. And my dog, because I have dogs, and I've got a dog and a cat, several cats, and my dog actually could sense when she was going to have a seizure.
I think
So
that's phenomenal. Mm.
Before the seizure started, my dog would start getting very whiny and anxious and
Mm.
pacing, and like she keeps going towards the
Tell.
kitten, you know, and
Yeah.
keeps like nudging her and stuff. And at first I was like, oh, what's going on? Next thing I know, there she goes. So I started to use the essential oils very specifically from Dr. Shelton's line. That's for seizures, neurological stuff, and we managed to actually reduce the seizures from say like 10 times a day to half, then another half to within I
Wow.
think 2 days, minimal, like maybe
Wow.
one. Yeah, and then I was like really amazed. I was like, okay, it's the oils or is it the food? So even though she was on raw food, I would stop the oils at first just to see, and then she'll have again the frequency came up again. So I'll put the oils on her, and then they went down. So
Mm.
I knew that for her case, the oils were helping to reduce the seizures for her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it was like an eye-opening moment, you
Mm.
know, especially she was so tiny, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how long the body can take, you know, all that, but she survived. I think, you know, they say cats have 9 lives. I think she used them all up. In you know, in a casino royale kind of moment, and you know she's like, screw death, I survive. So Ducky, cute as a little bugger that she is on camera, she really is a hustler. All right, she's a real bitch. She's a real hustler, everyone. She hustles the old. Oh, there she comes again. She hustles all
You're
the
talking about her.
big cat. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's best buds with the other adult hustlers. You know, and she likes to bully the others. Oh my goodness. So you know, we've realized she has no fear whatsoever. So
That's
she
always quite
brushed
worrying
death,
when you find something like that. Mm.
and ever since then, she's completely, utterly fearless. Like she's
Mm.
not afraid of anything. You
Mm.
know. So I said like
Mm.
you used up all your 9 lives
Mm-hmm.
at that point. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's grown up well.
Mm.
But she's tiny, tiny for her size. I don't think she'll grow any bigger.
Mm.
She's about 2 years old now, I think. Yeah.
Mm.
So
She's
it's been
gorgeous.
a journey with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you know what I
But she's
find
a
it
real
is?
hustler.
So, regardless of whether you have them for a short amount of time or whether they are with you for years, I do find it is, like you said, a journey. And I know some people don't like that word, but I think it is. You know, life is a big journey. You know, we are as humans traveling this road of our humanness and, you know, the spirit side, whether people are into that or not. But, you know, we're trying to survive every day. And I think when you've got a cat that comes into your life, be it for a short time or a longer time, it is a journey with them. You know, you can choose to either learn to lean into it and learn from them, or if you resist it, you just cause yourself more pain and frustration, and things will get worse until you lean into the lesson. That's what I found anyway. You know, that there are things where I'd get frustrated, and it happens now with my cat Leo, the rescue cat we've got now, and I think I've cracked it. I think I've nailed it. I've got it sussed. And then he'll do something and he'll be like, sorry, mum, not quite. I'm going to completely turn it on its head. And I'm like, come on, mate. Seriously, you know? And you got to just like roll with the punches. You got to go on that journey
Yeah.
with them. And
Yeah.
I find that if you try and do things your way, it's going to be really bloody hard. So you're better off just
Yeah.
being led by the cat and following their
Yeah.
lead and letting them lead you to lessons or learnings or, you know, education or people that you're meant to interact with, whatever it may be. I believe that they are actually the navigators for us, you know, these us humans on this planet. If you lean into what your cat is trying to tell you, if you learn from them, you'll have a much more fun time. You know, things will be a lot easier if you just let them show you and share with you what it is they need to. For sure.
Were you always you know, into the holistic side of things, or again, was it because pickle sort of led you to these, you know, new modalities?
No, I've
I mean,
always
what sort of
been quite spiritual.
okay.
You know, when I was younger, I had a set of rune stones. I was always drawn to crystals. You know, I've always been into the spiritual side of things. And
Mm,
at times Pickle made me question all of that, like ridiculously, because I'm like, how can this be about love if you're just getting more and more sick? Or, you know, how can this be about our wonderful journey together when you just keep pooing and weeing outside the litter tray? You know, and now again I look back and it is all learnings, because that's what we agreed together when we were in soul, when we were in spirit. We said that we would work together so she could help my soul and I could help her soul. And, you know, God, did she ever? You know, she changed my life. And there were times when I didn't know what on earth to do. I didn't know where to go, who to turn to, what the next steps would be. And I've sat in, you know, on the floor, I've sat on the bed and cried my heart out because I just don't know what the bloody hell to do next. And then as soon as I kind of catch my breath and just take a minute, it comes through my intuition, it comes through whatever form of guidance people want to align to, you know, religion or otherwise. But there was never really a moment with her where we connected. It just happened, like I said, from our relationship. She saw my ex-partner come and go. She saw my current husband, that sounds terrible. She saw my current husband arrive.
Is he at home right now?
No, thank goodness.
Okay.
She and do you know what? I knew he was a keeper because I got a new job, my corporate job at the time, and I said to him, "Oh my God, I've got to go away for a week training, a week in Manchester, like Monday to Friday. And he, you know, can you come and look after the cat?" And he was like, "I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but sure." We'd only been dating for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. And he did, and they got on like a house on fire. I mean, I'd never seen her be like that with anyone. She wasn't a lap cat. She sat on his lap. She actually, in the 13 years I had her, sat on his lap more than mine, ever. You know? And when they say, like, you know, animals are a good judge of character, God, was she ever, you know? And they had a very, very beautiful bond as well. I've never, ever seen my husband cry. And on the night when the vet carried her body out of the house, we were both in floods of tears. You know, she was so special. And as much as she would make us tear our hair out, you know, she was the most gorgeous little being there ever was. And our current cat, Leo, now, we're going through challenges with him. You know, he's asthmatic. We had him for 3 months. Everything was fine. Then we had 6 months of trying to get a diagnosis, and now he has an inhaler, you know? So, and when we found out, I said to my husband, we were at the vets after a couple of months of testing and things, and I said to him, probably after the second vet visit, "It's asthma. I know it is." And he was like, "Let's just go through the tests." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." But I'm like, all the way along, I'm like, "It's asthma. I know it's asthma," because I because of who I am and what I'm doing, you know, it has to be asthma, because that's how I'm meant to help. That's what I'm meant to learn, you know. And then sure enough, we get the diagnosis and he's asthmatic. I'm like, I told you so. And husband says to me, he looked at me and he said, "Can't we just have a bloody normal one?"
Life will never be the same.
I said to him,
Your
I said,
path
"Baby,
is not. Yeah, your
no.
path is different. You're special."
No. I said, "We will never have you know, air quote, like normal cat, because that's just not the way it's going to be for us, you know." So yeah, it's I do think that they teach us stuff. And, you know, we got Leo onto raw food. He came to us from the rescue on a mix of wet and dry. He was previously feral, so he's petrified of people. He still has moments with us, you know, he still finds it unpredictable. But we got him onto raw food. And then in August, he had 6 days where he didn't eat anything. So he ended up being in the vets overnight for 4 nights. And the first thing that he ate, apart from a tiny bit of hard-boiled egg yolk, the first thing that he would eat after all that time was dry food. And my world just came crashing down. I questioned everything that I stand for, everything that I share, that I teach, that I educate people on. You know, I am pro-raw, I'm anti-dry, you know, and it shook my world up. So the lessons from Leo are still coming thick and fast, you know, because
Understand.
I've got a choice. In every situation, you've got a choice. And I'm like, well, my priority is that you eat. You know, you're a cat. You can't go into hepatic lipidosis. You need to eat. So my knowledge of dry food, how it's created, what's contained in it, excuse me, the effect on the cat's body, I have to put all of that to one side because I need to get something in this tiny little black cat body, you know. So I've got to let go of my ego. I've got to let go of my, well, I know that dry food's not good type of attitude, you know. And it's happened twice since. We had another instance in October where he went a bit wonky with food, and I had to make a call. You know, it'd been 24 hours, and I thought, I can't let this continue. So I've got some dry food from the visit to the vets that we had. So I put a few kibbles down. All the while, my head's just like complete mush because I'm just fighting so much with the should, like you said before, the shoulds and the guilt all coming through. And I put the dry food down and he ate it. And my first thought was, yes. My second thought was, crap. So
yeah, no, I understand. I hear you, because we have had cats that, you know, when they're at the vet, or when they're really like, all they want is just processed food. I mean, sometimes, you know, we have tried using like freeze dried raw, so it's the, you know, the so-called healthier version of kibble in that sense, in a dry form. You know, so we always try different things, but at the end of the day, if an animal is sick and it's all they want to eat is that, just let them eat it.
Yep.
You know, I totally hear you, because I'm a fresh food feeder kind of person. And the thought of feeding kibble, or, you know, oh my god, kibble is the worst, oh my gosh, you know, I'm gonna kill this cat. But, well, if this cat will only eat kibble, let's go from there first.
Yeah, absolutely. And
no point staying on your high horse and refusing to give kibble, and, you know, you're gonna end up killing the cat faster.
Yeah.
You know, because if that's the only thing the cat is willing to eat, you know, it's hard. It's hard. And we found that with a lot of rescues from outside, especially if they're used to eating dry food from, you know, outside or rubbish.
Yeah.
They'll eat rubbish. I mean, like, you know, I used to eat a lot of processed food. You know, I'm a McDonald's kind of girl. You know, especially when I was a student. So it's like, yeah, when we have cravings, we want junk.
That's it, right? And I had to make a choice. Do I want to be right, or do I want to be happy? You know, because it would make me happy to see him eat, and that's what I chose to do. And it taught, and again, it did teach me lessons, because I look back now and it's taught me compassion, and it's taught me to release judgment. Because as much as I like to think that, you know, I don't judge people, we all judge people. We even judge ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, when I've got people that are saying to me, like, you know, clients or people in my Naturally Cats community that feed dry or feed wet and dry, or wet, dry and raw, or whatever, you know, there was a little bit in my head that was like, well, dry food's bad food, you know, and it was like that linear, it was that black and white, dry food is bad. And it's not that black and white, you know, there is a place for it. And I might get shot by raw food feeding people, but there is no perfect cat mum. There is no perfect cat guardian. You need to do the best you can with what you've got in that moment, right? So what good does it do me to be righteous? What good does it do me to be right in that I won't feed my cat dry food when he's basically literally, like you said, dying in front of me because that's all he'll eat? Well, if that's all he'll eat, then I'll give it him. You know, and actually it's taught me compassion, because when people say they're trying to transition their cat from, like, you know, onto wet or onto raw, and it's not going well, I mean, I've done it with 2 different cats, and with Leo, we've had to do it 3 separate occasions. So I do have like kind of empathy for it, but it's taught me even more compassion for those people in terms of, you know, look, I get it. You know, I
Yeah.
understand how hard it can be when your head says one thing and your heart says something else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I will always advocate to lead from your heart. And I know that's not everyone's
Yeah.
cup of tea. I always trust my intuition, and sometimes my head gets louder. My head is more noisy and shouting more. But if I follow my heart, things generally tend to work out right. So, you
Yeah.
know, do I want to be right and lead from my head, or do I want to be happy and see my cat eating, which
Mm.
makes, you know, which fills me
Mm.
with joy? We'll go with it,
Yeah.
you know,
I think, yeah, that's why I feel, I always believe animals are angels sent from heaven to teach us something in life.
completely.
And one of the things that they're still teaching me to this day, because the original me is a very judgmental, inflexible bitch. I I'm a real judgy,
Appreciate your
judgy bitch.
honesty.
Okay. Yes, the original me, very inflexible, very judgmental. It took me a very long time to even be this version, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
even saying I'm the better version. I'm a work in progress,
Mm-hmm. Aren't we
But
all?
it's thanks to my animals. It really is thanks to my animals, because each time, every case, like you said, especially when they are sick, you have to hold your judgment. Like,
Yeah.
if you've tried everything, and that's what I believe. If you have tried everything, and this is the only option left, just go with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, unless you want an animal to die sooner, okay, But
Yeah.
I think all of us, it's a learning curve. It's really like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very humbling experience, because
Yeah.
you just realize what a big effing ego you have.
That is so true, Amrys. That is so true. And I think as humans, like in our society, we aren't shown that mirror. You know, it's not until you have a cat that
Mm,
you can have that reflection given back to you, that actually get out of your head, get out of your ego. We don't always know better. You know, that comes back
mm,
to what I was saying before, but let them lead you to your lesson, let them show you what they
yeah,
need, you know.
yeah,
And that can be so humbling. And it's easy to judge, right? It's easy to be
yeah,
linear, it's easy to be black and white, good
mm,
and bad. I
yeah,
my community will know that I don't like good and bad, because, you know, what's good and bad to me will be different for you. So
yeah,
subjective. But
mm,
there's the best you're doing in that moment, that is enough, you know. And if you
yeah,
think back on it and you think you made the wrong decision, then learn from it, because
yeah,
in my opinion, right and wrong are very fluid terms. You know,
yeah,
it either goes the way you want it to, which is great, or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, you can learn from it. There's always something to learn, always.
yeah, yeah. I remember years back when I was very inflexible, and I said it's either raw or, yes or no.
Yes, I've been there.
You
It's either
cannot
raw or wet
mix.
or, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you cannot mix. You're gonna kill the gut or whatever. I was like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
because I whatever I read online at that point in time or whatever, I remember how inflexible I was, and I would tell doctors like, yeah, you can't. It's either or, you
Yeah.
know. But now, over the years, and more knowledge, more science, more people, coming forward to share their knowledge online, you know,
Mm.
and you learn more, you make mistakes, and you realize, like, wow, okay, yes, transition slowly, mix and match is fine, So I've learned, I'm still learning. The
Yeah,
animals constantly put me on my toes. They always
yeah,
surprise me.
yeah.
I mean, like, currently I've got like 12 cats and one dog at home, and
Oh,
every
wow.
single every single cat is so personality is different. They're not the
Yes.
same, and they
No.
have different preferences. It's like,
Yes.
holy cow, I've got a lot of kids.
Oh, yes.
I've got a
Oh,
lot of
yes.
kids. And the bickering and the cat politics
Mm-hmm.
sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
I wish I
Yeah.
could say I've got a handle of everything and my life is perfect and all the cats pee beautifully and poop beautifully in a litter box. Unfortunately, I'm a rescuer enforcement. Please don't do it this way unless you're a rescuer. But, you know, um, if you're not prepared to deal with the crap
Yeah.
and the accidents,
Yeah.
don't have so many animals, even though you say you love animals. You know, I started as a rescuer, so I just, you know, took, but I realized I started to get burnout, rescue burnout,
Yeah.
compassion fatigue.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like ooh, that's when I learned, last few years especially, I got to learn to set my boundaries and learn to say no. I can't keep
Yes.
taking on any more cats because
Yes.
I don't print money as much as I wish I did. You know, I wish I, yeah, one of the things I kind of regret not learning in school is, you know, how to make fake money and, you know, be a counterfeiter. That's something that, you know, I kind of regret that. Maybe I should have spent more time in the arts and the computer, just learn how to do all these things, you know, like money heist kind of thing. But yeah, I just, you know, I have a limited resource financially, so I had to stop and make
Yeah.
do. So I work with a lot of we work with like low income families as well.
Mm.
So again, suspend your big ego and high and mighty values. You know, you're talking to people who might not earn a lot of money,
Yeah.
but they still love their animal, their cat.
Yeah.
And you know, we try our best to educate them like on options that is within their budget, you know,
Mm.
how you could try and mix and match, freshen up the
Mm.
bowl, as we like
Mm.
to teach them. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't have to be
Lovely.
100% kibble all the time. You can make
Yeah.
bone broth. You can,
Yeah.
hey, if you cook at home, you
Give
can
them an
share
egg
some
and
of your scraps with them. Yeah, you know.
yeah. Yeah.
So we do a lot of that. So you know, like I said, I used to be a
Education's
very
really key.
inflexible. Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to be a very inflexible bitch, very judgy.
Mm.
But over the
Mm.
years, with so many animals, it's humbled me many, many times. Like, you know, they
Yeah.
keep teaching me, like, hey, big ego, go away. You know nothing.
Absolutely. Come back to your heart, you know, your intuition, and let go of the
Yeah,
layers of how we think we should be and what we think should be happening, you know. And like you
yeah.
said, it's not just financial limitations, you know, and financial resources. You've got a finite amount of mental capacity and emotional capacity. You know, you mentioned like compassion
Correct.
fatigue.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're not prepared to deal with the crap, if you're not prepared to deal with the bad stuff, you know, then think about whether having an animal is the right thing for you, because you've got to be able to deal with potentially problem behaviors or reactive situations or things that you just can't quite figure out for a while. You know, we had a litter tray that was a puppy training tray, and it was 2 meters by 2 meters. Absolutely massive.
That's a palace. That's a palace.
Massive, right?
Yeah.
And she would still go in, put her front 2 feet in, have the back 2 feet out, and wee on the mat the other side of the tray. I'm like, seriously, cat. You know, you got like a 4 meter squares here, you know, or whatever the maths is. I'm terrible in maths, but you've got like, you know, a quarter of my dining room as your litter tray, and you still decide to wee on the goddamn floor. So we were washing mats daily, sometimes twice daily with her, you know.
Oh,
But
I hear you. I hear you.
we don't give her to the rescue. We don't give her up because she can't wee in the tray. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, what can I do to help you? You know, the lesson for me, what more can I do to support you? What more can I do to help you? You know? And with compassion fatigue and that emotional, like our emotional state is so crucial to our cat's well-being. So my mission, as you may not know, is giving cats a voice, you know. And this year for 2022, I've decided that I am focusing on the emotions, you know, the emotional state of cats, the emotional state of humans. So, you know, I think there's like, when you look at a cat and their well-being, as with humans, you know, you've got the kind of four angles, if you like. So mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. And I've done my time talking about number of litter trays and talking about, you know, cat trees and scratching posts, you know, and enrichment and stuff. This year, I'm going hard and hopefully not going home on the emotional side of things. So, you know, I want to talk about how our emotional health affects our cats. I want to talk about how, you know, their emotional state is really, really important, and how the two are super connected. You know, we've had situations, and I'm sure you've had this, especially with 12 fur babies there, you know, where you are sad and either physically crying or kind of inwardly upset, and you'll have I'd say out of 12, I don't know, at least 3 maybe that will be that sensitive, that will come to be with you, to comfort you, whether that's like physically lick your tears, whether that's just to sit near you. If they're not particularly cuddly cats, they may show affection by sitting, you know, in your kind of like your aura, in your space, and they'll come to comfort you, you know. And what I think we need to realize is that cats can pick up on our energy. So our own mental health and our own emotional state, it's really important we look at that. So if you're dealing with burnout, or you're dealing with stress and overwhelm, like you said, you know, you'd experienced, that's going to affect the home. You know, we're all made of energy. We are all, like my computer to myself, everything is made of energy. So if it's not vibing right, it's going to cause, you know, ripples and reverberations into the room, which then leads to issues in the family. So, you know, we've got to have the emotional capacity, like you said, to deal with those animals that we take charge of, to deal with those animals that we decide to be guardians of, because as much as they may help and heal us, we still need to have enough sparkle in our sparkle jar to give back to them, you know.
So what, you know, what would be, you know, because now we've entered 2022, you know, what would you suggest to, you know, cat parents out there, like how to be more emotionally aware?
Yeah.
You know, what you know, a few steps that you might be able to share, some tips, you know, like how, what do you mean to be emotionally aware?
So the first step is to be first step is to be like cognizant, is to be present. So for example, like when I'm cooking dinner, I'm on my phone, and I was only thinking about this today. I was like, I'm trying to do 2 things at once and I'm not present with either of them. So how can I tell how I'm feeling if I'm not focused on myself? So the first step I would say to people is to put phones down, put tech down, turn TV off, put things on mute, off. And it sounds really simple, but take a deep breath. And I do something called with my clients, with my classes, with my community, called Calm Connection. So I say to people, wherever you are, whether you're in the toilet, you know, I've done this in the toilet, I've done this when I've been away from people in amongst, you know, conferences or family. You basically plant yourself, whether you're stood up or you're sat down, you just, you know, you're aware of your feet and your bum. If you're sat on a chair, you put your left hand on your heart and you take a deep breath in, and you take a nice slow breath out. And then you put your right hand either on your tummy or just below your belly button. So basically you're connecting with your heart chakra and either your solar plexus or your sacral, which links to your body. And you kind of effectively, you're hugging yourself. If you look at your body, if you've got your hands in those positions, and you take 3 deep breaths, 3 deep, slow, long breaths. Doesn't matter if it's in through the nose and out through the mouth. Doesn't matter if it's in through the nose and out through the nose. Doesn't matter how you do it, but you take 3 long breaths, and then you're able to sense how you feel. God, I feel overwhelmed. God, I feel really stressed. Oh, my back's really hurting. Oh, my knee's really sore today. I can't stop thinking about that work thing. That's the first step, because once you connect, once you take those few breaths, you'll be able to take an inventory almost of how you feel. So you'll notice what's running through your head, you'll notice in your heart what emotion's going on, and you'll notice in your physical body what's causing you distress. So if you could notice what's going on where, then you can choose to deal with that. So if you've got a physical issue, do I need a hot water bottle? Do I need to take some medication? Do I need a hot bath? Do I need to sit down? Right? What do you need to sort your physical? If it's your emotional, if you feel, I don't know, sad or like I said, overwhelmed or angry, do you need to have a walk, move your body, because it will shift your energy, it will help you process your emotions? Can you take time to journal? Do you need to meditate? Do you want to just go and scream out loud, you know, outside? What do you need to do to shift that emotion, to feel that emotion? And then when it comes to the mental, I always advocate writing lists, writing stuff down. So usually my head's busy because I'm thinking I've got to do this email and contact that person, and, you know, I want to get that on social media and da, 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 da. So I'm like, right, I've got a list up on my phone, so I just write it down. you know, and it doesn't always have deadlines or to-do dates, or it's not always written in good prose or English. It's just out of my head. Husband's even walked in, you know, at night time. I'm at the bath, I'm in my pajamas, all ready to go to bed, you know, moisturizer on my face. And he's like, "What are you doing?" Because I'm writing on the bedside table on a little bit of paper. I'm like, just got to get it out of my head before I go to bed, because otherwise it will keep me awake. So I've got a little notepad by my bed to get it out of my head. So I would say to people, you know, stop, plant yourself, sitting or standing, take your 3 deep breaths, notice what you feel in your head, in your body, and in your heart, and then take a step forward and see what you need to do. I feel like I'm desperate to go and do that now.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. You know, I think a lot of pet parents do their best to take care of the pets, of,
Of course
you know,
they do.
cats, you
Of
know,
course
because
they do.
they love their kitty cats and everything,
Yeah,
but they forget to love themselves, and they forget,
exactly.
you know, if they don't take care of themselves and do some self-care first,
Yeah,
how are they going to give the best care to their fur babies,
yeah.
you know?
And that is, I think, a
And
big trick
that
that we're missing. Hmm.
yeah, and that is something which I feel very strongly about, with my journey from, you know, ignorant pet parent to ignorant rescuer, self-righteous bitch that I used to be, judgy, and now it's like, you know, it's almost like coming, you know, like, really it is a journey for me as well, with all
Mm,
the animals that I've encountered, all the
mm.
heartaches. They have taught me a lot of things, and one of the main things that keeps coming back to me is that I need to learn to love myself first,
Oh, yes.
because
Oh, yes.
each time, if I don't do any self-care, I'm not giving my best to my baby. I'm not
No.
helping the animal. It's to their disadvantage, you know, because I'm
Yeah.
not thinking straight. I'm too emotionally upset or stressed or worrying about, you know, either, you know, family stuff or, you know,
Yeah.
work stuff. Yeah, so it's important. So I really like the fact, and it's so weird that, you know, we're having this conversation, and that you're focusing on emotional care and awareness, because
Yeah.
that is something that I'm also, you know, really looking into and trying to share with pet parents as well. You know, is
Yeah.
that it's not just about, you know, feeding them the best food or the best litter, or, you know, like what kind of litter tray you're using or anything. It's not so much that. It's really your heart. How is your heart when you give your heart? If
Yeah.
your heart is bruised and hurting, you need to also learn to tend to your own heart's care, you
Mm,
know, or else
mm.
you can't give fully and completely to your animal.
No.
That's how I look at it.
Ab- absolutely. So, you know, every emotion has a different energetic frequency, you know, and when we have those emotions stuck in us, that creates blockages or disbursement. I don't know if that's the right word, but, you know, dispersal
Mm,
of our energy. And
mm,
cats are sponges. They're emotional and energetic sponges. We know, and I'm sure there's science to back it up. You know, we can be healed from a cat purr. We know the
mm,
cats soak up our emotions and our energy. So
yeah,
if we are coming off a call or finishing our day and we're really, really stressed and angry, you know, that is not just coming out of our body, but it's going
yeah,
into our cat. You know,
yeah,
if we take a minute, we finish up at our computer at our desk, we go and have a wee, you sit in the toilet and you just take a couple of deep breaths. I guarantee you it will shift your energy and shift your vibration, you know, shift your emotions. And then you go to your cat. You may be still like, oh, do you know what, love? I had a really crappy day, but I've got a bit more love to give. I've got a bit more space in my heart to connect with you. Now, cats are fabulous at taking our emotions, you know, taking our energy and transmuting it, you know, changing it up and giving it back to the universe. They do it when they're sleeping, they do it when they're cleaning, they do it when they're outside, they do it in loads of different ways. Again, different topic for a different day. But you know, if we're aware of what we are bringing to our cats, it will completely transform our relationship with them. So, I'll give you an example. We've had Leo for 2.5 years. He doesn't like a lot of physical touch because he was previously feral. So for 18 months of his life, he had no interaction with humans. So he didn't have that socialization period. He didn't have the bit where he can build the bond and think that humans are lovely people and not really scary big beings. So I had a codependent relationship with Pickle. We would spoon on the bed. We'd have all sorts of crazy cuddles. She'd be against my legs under a blankie. She'd be on my pillow. I'd have my face in her tummy. We'd have all sorts. So I'm craving that and I'm missing that. And I have had periods where I have struggled to connect with Leo because all I want is what he's not giving me, what he's not capable in this moment of giving me, because he can't. That's not how he shows love right now. So I can either get frustrated and shout at him and get angry and, distance myself from him or get frustrated, or I can choose to look at myself, which is what I'm doing. I'm practicing self-love, and it's really bloody hard, really, really hard. But the other day I did some work on my root chakra, and you know what? The most phenomenal thing happened. Later that night, he had a healing session with me, which he's probably had about 3 since we've had him. And then he slept on my pillow and he fell asleep so much that he was twitching, which was just beautiful. And there's a little tiny snore. And the next morning, oh my God, he came and sat on my chest for nearly an hour and gave me cuddles. All of that happened in a 12-hour period after I did some work on my root chakra, which is all about grounding and, myself. And that's just like one example. I've got loads, but I just hope people from listening to this can take away that, we're not causing the problems or issues or things that are going on with our cats. Okay. We're not causing that, but we can help that by helping ourselves. So if we can take a moment to shift our energy, to be aware of and process our emotions without just pushing it down or pushing it to one side or ignoring it, we've got more capacity in our hearts to connect with our cats, which is what they're here for, what they want, what they're here to teach us. Every connection's different, like you said with your 12. And I'm glad you said it, because even if cats are from the same litter, they'll be completely different. Just because I've got a sister doesn't mean that we're the same. Good God, we are so different, so every cat is unique. And every cat's interaction and relationship and connection with a human is unique. So the relationship I have with Leo is different to what he has with my husband. So I hope that the pet parents or the cat guardians that hear this will take comfort in the fact that we're all doing our best, and if you've got capacity to not necessarily do more, but just do it slightly differently, be a bit easier on yourself, let go of the guilt that you think you should have, would have, could have done X, Y, and Z with the cat. And above all else, pause, that no pun intended with, cat pause, but pause, catch your breath, take a moment to look at what you need. And once you've given yourself that, then you can give more to your cat.
Well, Julie-Anne from Naturally Cats, I want to thank you on behalf of all the pet parents out there that you've helped, and I'm pretty sure Pickle is with you right now, and she's so dang proud of you. She is your spirit guide. She is your buddy, and she's watching out, and she's telling you like, well, you thought you knew everything? I sent Leo for you.
Exactly. I've had that exact thought as well. She's like, you thought you had it? Ha! Here you come. Here you go. Have another one.
Wow. I'm so thankful and grateful that you took the time to listen to this podcast. It would mean the world to me if you could subscribe, download, rate, review, and share this with others whom you care about that may enjoy it as well. Thank you, and remember to be kind to yourself and others. Have a awesome day, everyone.